Okay, this is how I set up a floating drop shadow. I always do this, or if I'm going to do this, it's for a image that I've finished editing. There may be other ways of doing this for sure. This is just a quick and easy way that I use. So I'm going to do this in Photoshop. So we'll open up Photoshop. It's already going. And I just need a image that'll look good on. Let's do, that would look pretty good. Let's do this one. It's yeah, this will work good because it's a odd shape. Okay, so first thing we need to do is make sure that your background color is set to white. So on your toolbar on the left hand side, just make sure the background is set to white before you get started. And then we need to take all of our layers, however many, if you've got 1 or 10 or however many layers, select them all. And then over on the right hand side in the gray, right click and do duplicate layers. We're doing this so that the changes that we make won't affect the image. It's just going to be layers. So anytime we want to return, we can do that. So now I've got a copy of all 3 of those, and I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to go up and do group from layers. So it'll make one group out of those 3 duplicate layers. So when I do that, we'll name it. And then I like to make sure the mode is on normal, not pass through. And when I do that, it'll make one layer that consists of all 3 of these adjustment layers. Okay, so to get a drop shadow, we have to have something for the shadow to display on. So it's got to be larger than the image. And we don't want to reduce the image size. We want to make the canvas larger. So I'm going to go to Image and then Canvas Size. And then the easiest way for me is I just check mark this relative. And that says, I don't have to do any math. It's just saying, hey, make it whatever it is now, make it this amount larger or smaller. So for this, I'm just going to do 3/4 of an inch larger on all sides. So it's going to be top, bottom, side, and side. So when I click on OK, it's going to place that canvas around the image. The image hasn't changed size. So now we got a place to work on. All right, so then on that drop shadow layer, the duplicate layer, over on the right hand side within the gray box, just double click. And we need to select drop shadow. Don't click in the checkbox, click on the name. When you click on the name, it lets you edit that panel. So I've already got a lot of selections made from previous choices, but what I do is I make sure my opacity is at roughly 80%. I like the angle for the shadow to be about 135 degrees. That makes the shadow come to that lower right hand as if the image was from, or the light was from the upper right hand. If I change this to 30 degrees, for instance, you'll see it's going to put the shadow over here. I just think that's odd for me. So I kind of like 135. Do whatever you like to. And then you can mess with these, just just play around with them. For instance, the distance, if you just watch the drop shadow, I'm at 45 pixels. If I crank it way over here, you're going to see the difference, how it kind of makes it look really, really odd. So for me, I've just found 45 works good. Same thing on the spread. If you watch that, I'm at 25. It kind of gets kind of weird when you start doing too much of that. So I've just selected on this. You can choose whatever you like to. So once you've got the shadow looking the way you want to, and the amount of float kind of, that's the spread number right there. Then just go ahead and click on OK. And so now we've got an image that the editing is completed on. We've made duplicate layers. We've combined them. We've made the canvas larger, and then we made a drop shadow that shows up on that expanded canvas. So the reason we did all this was so that we don't mess with the original image. So we've got this in a state where we need to save it so that we can use that. This is what I use for like social media or Vero or whatever. So I'm going to just go to File and do Save As. And we're going to save this in a way that we can come back and edit, what we've got. We can get rid of the drop shadow if we need to. So I typically want to give it a name that identifies it. So I've got bison and coyote. Cave. And then the ones that have drop shadow, I just put DS on the end of it. It makes it easy for me to be able to come back. So if I have the same image saved with and without a drop shadow, the one with a DS just means drop shadow to me. And then, you can put it wherever you want to, whatever you save your stuff. This is a finished image for me, so I'm going to save it in my little for sale thing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save, and it'll create that TIFF file. Excuse me, it'll normally come up like zip or something like that. I don't want to save any compression. I want it full size. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. You can make whatever choice you'd like to here for image size. I have plenty of hard drive space, so I'll go ahead and save it without compression. And that's really quick. It's already done. So this image has been saved as a TIFF. And to verify that, I'll just go over to my folder, and then if I just click on date created, it'll show me the most recent image that's been saved. And then just double click on that bad boy, and then here's in the preview, here's the image. The image hasn't been changed, only the canvas size and the drop shadow. So that's what it kind of looks like. You've now verified that it works, and it displays to your satisfaction. And then anytime that you want to, you can go back and you can get rid of this duplicate layer, and you're right back where you were. So it's not destructive. So it makes an easy process. Hope this helps.